How's everybody doing tonight? Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. PBO struggling tonight. Let's share these screens. I'm looking a little rough, but we're gonna make it work tonight. We're gonna make it work tonight. Oh. Talk about a little bit about AWS Inspector. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. We'll talk a little bit about AWS Inspector. PBO had to run. Appreciate you. PBO had to run and get a pop real quick because he was dozing off. He wasn't gonna make it today. Shout out to my LinkedIn user. How's it? It's going pretty good. Thanks for joining me tonight. I guess I need to go over there and peek on LinkedIn users. You know how we do it. If you got any cybersecurity questions or technology questions, just drop them in the chat and we'll get to them. Shout out to the Study GRC family. How you doing, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. So just left their stream. He's doing our CISP studying group. Shout out to B-Dub. She did an excellent job. PBO was over there mistalking AES encryption. He was confusing it with HMAC and RSA. PBO got to get it together tonight. I'm doing pretty good, man. Out here struggling and grinding. I'm too old to be grinding, but trying to make it. It's hard out here. It's hard out here. But now I can't complain, man. Trying to see how 2025 gonna treat me. Shout out to Casualist Economist, definitely one of the day ones. So we're gonna talk about Amazon Inspector. Shout out to my man Black Dub. He asked me what would be the service you use to look at findings from a CVE perspective, and that's Amazon Inspector. We'll go to a couple slides, then we're gonna hit the actual dashboard and dig into a little more and actually looked at some of the inspector findings. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'm just gonna go over there and hit a few things on there. That's not what I wanted to hit. Yep, Hump Day's here tomorrow. Shout out to the GRC Mafia. We appreciate it. Let's see. What is the soda of choice? Pepsi, which I shouldn't be drinking. Pepsi. Need a little caffeine. Probably work a little bit later tonight. Keep it rolling. So, but yeah, let's get on this Amazon Inspector. Once again, if you got any tech questions or cybersecurity questions, just drop them in the chat. We keep it moving. This is a standard 3-tier AWS architecture. You can do this on-prem. Usually you have a web tier, app tier, and database tier. See that EC2? That's what Amazon Inspector is going to be scanning for vulnerabilities. I usually use, let's get back there. I usually use Amazon Linux, which is a fork of Red Hat. That's usually my OS of choice. So we got EC2 there, running a once again web server. Web server of choice for me is Apache. Then the app server for me is Tomcat. I'm usually using Java or PHP. Database right there, Amazon Aurora. I'm either using Oracle or Postgres. Those are my database is a choice. We have our load balancer there. AZ1 is a data center. AZ2 is a data center. AZ1 goes down, we just automatically fell over to AZ2. Got our load balancer there. But once again, GRC talking about architecture. Then if we go on serverless, which is the new trend a lot of time, you got your API gateway. Your Lambda will be your code. Once again, PHP, Java, JavaScript. Then DynamoDB could be your database, Oracle, Postgres. But once again, that's serverless. So that Lambda actually, when you actually put it in AWS, you just do your code. Then when your API hits your Java code or your PHP code, it spins the server underneath your code, run it, and takes it away. That's why it's called serverless, because you don't do the server. AWS spins it once you put your code of choice in Lambda. So then the new thing, which is hot, is ECS or EKS, which is your containers, right? Once again, load balancer. flows over to your Docker serverless, meaning once again, AWS handles the servers for you with your Docker or your Kubernetes, or you can handle this the EKS or ECS yourself, which is basically just containers. Everybody's getting into the Docker, and Kubernetes is super hot out there. So from a GRC perspective, I need to get a better handle on what that will look like. So Amazon Inspector is a fully managed vulnerability management and assessment service that continuously scans your AWS workload for software vulnerabilities, unattended network exposures, and compliance risks. These are the compliances it meets from vulnerability management. Everybody know I'm a NIST 800-53 guy. PCI DSS, shout out to my man. I was in his Discord, Cyber Gangsters. Then the FedRAMP, which is NIST 800 Cloud, and the CIS benchmarks. We were talking a little bit about that in B-Dub's CIS discussion today from a hardening perspective. So what it scans, once again, it does your EC2 instances with OS packages. CVE is a network exposure. We just talk about Lambda functions, package vulnerabilities, Python, Node.js, and Java, some other ones. We're talking about containers. So you will have your container images and ECR. So we'll scan those for your operating system and application level vulnerabilities. And your EC2 networks, unintended networks exposures of public accessibility, meaning you have too many ports open. So what would that actually look like? So let's see. Shout out to my man Ty. I got to call him back. He hit me a couple times on Sunday. PBO was in the bed, not feeling well. Shout out to Ty. That's my man. So, but yeah, PBO struggling. He almost 60. Shout out to me. I'm getting up. But yeah, those are the things it scans from a vulnerability scan. Once again, we were talking about using Rapid7 for vulnerability scan. Use Nexus mostly for compliance, but I think it has vulnerability scans in there. Qualsys is one I see a lot of my smaller clients would use. So some of those. So of course, AWS has their service for it, and their service would be AWS Inspector. Once again, put any questions or statements in the chat box, and we'll get to them. Here's the things from Amazon Inspector to NIST 800-53 R5 mapping. So the vulnerability scan would be a RA5, flaw remediation would be SI2, security alerts that once you do your security hub and your inspector, you can have it send out alerts or emails to teams or people or to certain dashboards. Configuration settings would be CM6, system component inventory, CM8. So all the things that Amazon Inspector will help you from your NIST documentation. These are the security families that Amazon Inspector helps you fill from a audit compliance standpoint. So a lot of people kind of ring me up and be like, hey, what is RF5? What does it say? What can I do for continuous monitoring, which is at CM6, CM8? You get your vulnerability scan. Once again, it could be Rapid7, some Inspector, Nexus, Qualsys. Let's see. How well does AWS works with virtualization? If you really talk about EC2, that's really Linux. It's really virtualization. It's on a big server. It cards it out. From that perspective, it's fine. Now, when you talk about virtualization from a container level, I'm trying to grow into that. But from an EC2 Windows perspective, when you spin up your EC2s, you're really just getting a virtual machine inside a larger server. From that perspective, it's top notch from that perspective. Key features of AWS Inspector version 2. You can run an agentless and agent-based scanning. Agentless for container image, ECR, and Lambda. We looked a little bit about that. Agent-based, using this system service management part for EC2 instance. Automatically discovered supported resources in your account. That is a cool thing. I put it in one of my accounts, put my EC2 out there, and just started up. It found it, scanned it, did a deep inspection scan, and once again, we'll look at that in a minute. I was surprised because I thought Yum updated, but I still had a lot of high-level vulnerabilities. So I got to see if my Yum update didn't work or I didn't do it quite right. But I was surprised how many vulnerabilities were out there. Real-time CVE detection automatically detects common vulnerabilities and exposures from OS and libraries. Use the NVD, National Vulnerability Database, and AWS Internal Threat Intelligence. Shout out to AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle. When they give you these services, they give you a lot of threat intelligence built in. Because once again, I think they're doing it for their company. So they just giving you a slice of theirs and kind of charging you for it. But they give you a lot of top-notch security tools, I think, for a very low cost, especially if you're not running a ton of EC2s or VMs, which most medium to small companies don't, because you're going to spin them up when you need them and spin them down when you don't. So continuous and automated scan is triggered by events such as new EC2 lambdas or image deployments, OS package updates, ECR image push. No need to schedule scans manually. It's always watching, and when you scan it, it's going to scan it and send you a bill. But now it's pretty good about it. When I looked at it too, I always tell people, look at your costs. I got 2 or 3 VMs. I think it said it was going to be $5 this month. Of course, I am running on a fee, AWS Inspector, I think for 20 days. Risk scoring and prioritization assigns severity to each finding, critical, high, medium, low, informational. Exclude exploitable data, CVS scores, and remediation guidance. I'm sorry, that includes. Integrate with other AWS services. We're going to look at the Security Hub integration with AWS Inspector. Security Hub is supposed to be single pane of glass. Once again, we did AWS config. Now we're going to do AWS Inspector. So each one of those findings gets fed back in the Security Hub, so you can look at them all in one place. Then once again, like we did AWS config, you can have EventBridge look for certain CVEs, then you can automate remediation in a workflow. Inspector finding API, you can query and filter results programmatically. That's one thing I want to look at and see if I can hook up Power BI using their findings API and bring that into Power BI. So from a management screen, run everything to, we always talk about Office 365 and show those findings in Office 365 using Power BI. One thing we talked about in the future, and a lot of people will start asking for, what's SBOMs. Software bills of materials. You can export what things are built into your project from a software EC2 thing. Amazon keeps track of that for you. So you can use Amazon Inspector's Office offers an automated centralized management of software bills of material export. It enables the easy export of consolidated SBOMs for our monitor resources to a pre-configured Amazon S3 bucket, supporting industry standard format. We can download the SBOM to perform Amazon Athena queries or Amazon QuickSight dashboards using our SBOM. So I think in NIST, the new version, they're asking for SBOM. What's all your build of materials inside your project? Sometimes those are hard to find out. So that's one feature I need to look at a little closer. Once again, when we talk about the NIST 800-53 artifacts you need. Here's some of the prices. Average number EC2 scans per month using an SSM agent. Just looks like $1.25 per instance. That's per month though. Number of Amazon instance scan per month using agents. So it seems like $2 per instance. Once again, you can do the CIS benchmarks. There are 3 cents. Once again, inside Security Hub, we were actually using AWS config to run our NIST benchmarks. But I mean, if you didn't want to run that service and wanted to get a compliant CIS benchmark, you could actually cut out AWS config and do it all inside Inspector, which I thought was cool. ECR is the container scanning. Once again, that's 9 cents per image and a penny per rescan. On demand container image. So you look at those prices; those seem pretty affordable. Then your Lambda standard. I got one Lambda in there. I will look at that. I think I did it in Python. I think I have some small Python codes in there. So we'll look at them. Once again, looking at vulnerability. It's part of your continuous monitoring to keep the awareness of what level of security is your project's in, or that particular region is. So once again, so you can keep track of, once again, your security posture for continuous monitoring. Inspector example use case, EC2 plus Lambda plus ECR. We were looking at that. EC2 detects missing patches and vulnerability packages. Lambda scan dependency and deployment package. ECR scan Docker image for vulnerabilities before deployment. So a lot of times in your pipeline, you want to check that out before you put it into production. You want to know what where you at. Do you got a lot of vulnerabilities? Is it safe to put in production? Do you have some Cat 1s from a security perspective where you shouldn't put it in production? Once again, that lets you know for pre-scanning. Hopefully that wasn't blocking it too bad. So let's keep going. Here, let's go to the, that's just me logging into Amazon Inspector. You see at the top, I got my 15-day free trial cooking. Oh, let's switch it. That might help. I'm looking at the dashboard, can't nobody see. So let's reshare that. Let's find a dashboard. There's the dashboard. So that's the dashboard. It tells you a summary. I got one instance up, so it said it's 100% scan. That's us looking in the dashboard. Let me make that a little bigger for the old people like me. Give me a little, even at 125. So one instance had 2 lambdas that scanned 1. 32 total findings. Just looking at my EC2s, looking at my Python packages there. So look at some of the vulnerabilities. So my high says my CVE 225-27156. Some of my Python package in there. So let's click on that. It said Jinja is a extensible template engine prior to 316, and oversight in the sandbox environment interacts with the filter allows an attacker that controls content of the template to execute arbitrary Python code. That would not be good. The vulnerability is fixed in 316, so it tells you what I need to go up to for that particular package. So you see down at the bottom, it says package vulnerability. There shows my instance that right after this, I'm gonna shut it down and delete it. Once again, it shows me my CVE. And so it was high. So me really being compliant, I would get all these highs up, package it up. Since that's actually on the EC2, my cloud infrastructure team, I would get all those findings together, send those to my cloud infrastructure team with a POAM, which is a schedule. Since that's high, I think we would have 30 to 60 days to get that fixed. And if we can't, we better have a real good reason, right? So once again, Amazon Inspectors scanned my EC2 right there. It found a high vulnerability. It tells you what package is fixed in 316. So it tells you what needs to be fixed. Once again, I'm GRC, so I would send that out to my cloud infrastructure guys or my SAs if I was on-prem. But each company has different people and different names who's in charge of fixing those virtual machines. So let's look at a couple more. Once again, I thought I updated, so I'm actually a little perplexed. Maybe that's why I'm not on the cloud infrastructure team. But let's see, that was high. There's another one high before 2. So it tells you this is similar to exploit the DTD, which actually is XML to validate some code. It said exploited there. So Let's see if I click on it. It gives you more details there. I built that on April 6th. Once again, I just created a Amazon Linux. I just pulled it down, compiled it, put it in a VPC, which is a virtual private network, spun it up, and just scanned it, right? So, but in real life, I'll be like, oh, we got to get this fixed. That's a high right there, severity high. Once again, I think you get 30 to 60 days, depending on what government oversights you're looking at. So once again, going through Inspector and looking up our vulnerabilities. Let's see, we don't have any containers. That would be the EC2. We don't have any container repository. My Lambda should be showing. I got to figure out what I left. But here's all the findings. Once again, I spun up Amazon Linux 2, which is a fork of Red Hat. That shows all my high findings, which looks about like 10 or 12. So once again, I'll probably give myself a couple days to get those fixed. I should be able to yum update and have those automatically fixed. So I got to figure out what's going on with that package. Let's click on one more. Those are the kernel tools. Look at the libcat. This is a PAM module. During the actual parsing, once again, it tells you it's a high package vulnerability. The fix is available. That's the cool thing. Exploit available, no. So tells you what VPC I have it on. Once again, I'll probably tear that down in a couple of days. What's up, man? The MI, what I built it on. So once again, that's my Amazon Linux 2. I just spent up one virtual machine, put it on a subnet, and scanned it. Once again, you should build all your virtual machines off a gold image. So a lot of times you'll look at that. It could be 1,000 findings, but really they're off the same image. So if you have 10 servers with 1,000 findings, really you have one image with 100 findings. And once you fix them on that image and rebuild all your virtual machines off your gold image, right? So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. That's why you like to use an image, because if you spin up, once again, 20, 30, I've actually seen 70 VMs, but we spin them off of one image. So once we fix that image up, we can tear down all our VMs and spin them back up, right? Once we get that image remediated and fixed, and hopefully get our findings down. So, my fault, the pain. Check your notifications there. Make sure you got them on all on the button. But sometimes YouTube takes a while to start notifying people. A lot of times you got to come watch them a couple times, and because they only notify like 30% of your people on your subscriber list, the 30% of the top people that watch you. So that's what somebody told me. I don't know if that's true. Appreciate you for joining me. So once again, if y'all got any questions, so we're just looking at a virtual machine I built off, which is an EC2. For me, I picked the OS to be Amazon Linux 2, which is a Red Hat fork of, which is a fork of Red Hat. And this is showing me all the high findings I spun up from that image I spent up from AWS. I guess I thought it would have less because I spent it up 2 days ago. But I guess even if you spin them up, you got to go ahead and patch it. Shout out to the GRC Mafia and Simply Cyber. You got to patch it, right? So I need to patch it. What's up, man? The PBL, I appreciate the PBL posse. I like that, PBL posse. But yeah, so once again, and those are standard things. You want to have your scans, right? Keeping track of your findings, your vulnerability scans, how you work that as an organization. So once again, I probably in real life, I would scan this probably once a week, get those findings out, and hopefully you wouldn't get any new findings because you would know if you put out a new release, right, or put out some new service. So each week you should be fixing these vulnerabilities, fixing these findings. You keeping track of it so you understand the compliance of your environment that you built. A lot of people know I do a lot of federal work. So once again, you would keep track of this. And if you're doing IRS work or CMC work, you got to keep a poem and for your vulnerabilities and what's your vulnerability management, right? You have a vulnerability management plan. We scan, we go over these once a month. We keep a schedule or poem when they get fixed, or if there's no something gets inside the environment we're not aware of. Then a lot of times, we want to get those fixed in 30 or 60 days. A lot of times, though, I've seen a couple highs where if we fix it, we would break some apps. So we would have to keep those out there. But hopefully we would have some port we could close, or maybe it was internal. It would make it less harder to take advantage of that particular vulnerability, right? We have mitigated controls, and we might have a WAF in front of it to block that particular port for coming through from the web. So once again, you have different things, but the big deal is how do you do vulnerability management as a company, right? You got to have a vulnerability management plan. Usually you got to have a poem and a schedule. And two is showing tickets of when you get these fixed, right? So when the auditors come in, hey, you had a vulnerability, when was it fixed? Was there a ticket? And can we see the scan after to make sure you actually fix what you said you could fix? So that's that's pretty much it from the Amazon Inspector. If you've done anything, we were talking about Rapid7 and Nexus and Qualys. It's just a standard vulnerability management. The cool thing in here, though, is you can link it to, and we looked at this last week, it's your security hub. Then outside your security hub, right here, we can see your security standards. We were looking at our AWS config. This will be our compliance scanning in Security Hub, right? So we can see where we're at from a compliance. Then we could go down to our insights. I'll take that. Our integrations. PBL was getting used to these. Then we could go down to our inspector integration. We need to move it up, which right here, then we can say, see the findings inside our Security Hub that's actually looking at inspector findings. So in one place, we could check our compliance and our findings, right? So once again, Security Hub is that one pane of glass to look at your compliance, different levels of findings. So we can look at our compliance findings and our vulnerabilities. And we got two more we're going to look at too later on. But once again, shout out to Black Dove. He was asking me about the CVE findings. So this is where we look at our CVEs. Once again, we could sort them. We want to get our highs at the top because that's the first thing we want to attack. Because once again, a lot of times, I think IRS says we have to fix the highs within 30 days. So we would get, once again, put these in a poem, figure out what needs to be done, test them somewhere to make sure we're not breaking anything in production before we get to it, right? So that's the big part. Let me drop the link if anybody wants to come up. Like I said, we're wrapping it up. So we just want to get I guess, a high-level cursory of Amazon Inspector, once again, from a continuous monitoring standpoint. This 800S, you see those highs. We can't have a lot of highs in the environment. That won't look good on there. When the auditors come in, we get a big write-up. Your environment is unstable. Your environment is Swiss cheese. Your environment's a threat to national security. I've never heard that one before, but people do get dramatical. But now that's it. That's what we want to look from a vulnerability. Once again, CVEs, we looked at them. It shows you how to fix them. It shows you what version they would be fixed in. So that's really one again. And once again, we're going to put these in a schedule so we can have our infrastructure team patch those. We could actually probably run AWS System Manager. We can actually have it go out to each EC2. We should be able to run the YUM updates and get all those fixed. So I probably do that off camera. I don't want to do that on camera. PBO has been having a bad day. He was mixing up AES 256 and RSA, and he's been having a rough day. PBO got to get it together. But once again, just going over AWS Inspector. Once again, the CVE findings. You're going to have a vulnerability scan for your continuous monitoring. Two is you want to be able to scan and see, because people know mostly I love Linux from that, but a lot of shops are Windows. But either one, you can run Windows or Linux, and it'll give you the CVEs of what needs to be patched. The big deal is we shouldn't have, I think it was like 23 high findings. That's way too many. We have to figure out what's going on from an OS perspective. and see what we need to do to fix it. So I'm gonna hang out a little longer. I think that was pretty much it for me. Once again, AWS Inspector, we're looking at it through Security Hub. Security Hub is our pane of glass, our one-stop shop to look at compliance scans, which was AWS Config. Now we're looking at vulnerability scans for AWS Inspector, right? PBL is going to need to take his AWS cloud certifications. I think mine are expire in June, I think. So I need to take studying for the associate architect one. So then I got to get back on my CISP. Once again, shout out to Study GRC with their CISP YouTube. They go over twice a week. So I've been joining that, trying to get my CISP. I'm getting a little too old to be studying for that. But once again, if y'all got any questions, just put them in the chat. PB over here rambling. I think I done had too much pop. Now I'm on now I'm on 15. PB got a lot of energy now. So once again, I want to appreciate everybody for joining me. I might do a threat. I'm checking. I might do a. I've been doing threat. Threat assessments. I might do a threat assessment on lunchtime on Thursday. I'll probably go at 11 because I think Study GRC got some at 12. So I might do a threat assessment. I've been looking at background checks. They're changing a lot. So I might do that. Once again, just finish it up. AWS Inspector. Drop anything, any of your questions in the chat. Wrapping it up. Once again, I think from a vulnerability scan, got to get your vulnerability management together. So how do you, that's an excellent question. I think it's different depending on the management. I try to joke and laugh a little bit. A lot of times I think it, like I said, our managers aren't the same, right? So I try to read them. Some managers like communication. Other managers, they kind of cut to the chase. They too busy to communicate. So I try to find what form of communication they like and do that. I'm more of a talk type guy, and a lot of older managers like to talk. I think younger people like to chat, and I don't mind doing that. I don't think my writing skills from a communications perspective is not very verbose for me. So I think I'm so short when I type. I think people think I'm giving them tone. So I try to talk and communicate. And a lot of managers are old like me, so they still like to talk. So you get that friendly chat, if we got something in common. Just kind of, so I'm kind of good at finding out what people like, be able to chat on that subject, talk a little business, so once again, you got to kind of figure out that person. I had one manager just hate talking altogether. So he was kind of like, which I struggle. He was an executive summary type guy. He wanted everything kind of executive summary. So I kind of got his format. I didn't like it. What is it about? Give me a paragraph summarizing. 2, don't drop a turd on my table. So how you going to fix the problem? You just put in your executive summary. Give me 2 or 3 solutions. So that was kind of his format. And I don't write well, so I struggle with that. So we can chat about that too. Once again, I think it's your environment, the manager you deal with, and how you communicate. Then it's an intersection of those 3. So I want to appreciate everybody for joining me. Come and check me out. Once again, if you have a specific subject you want to chat about, just let me know. Once again, I'm kind of winding it down. I think I need to take about a week off. I need to take a week off and get it together. Once again, let's see what my man Scott was saying. If you're studying for the AWS Associate Cert, take before May 21st. I appreciate that. I have some vouchers because I've had it last time. And AWS is good. If you took a test last time, the next time they give you 50%. But I appreciate that. I'm going to double check to make sure my vouchers are still good. Skyward, syntax. Thanks for double check. But I think I had, when I last time I looked, I had 2 more vouchers. A long story short, a couple people know I have 5 AWS certs. So once again, once you take them, you get 50%. Like I said, mine are due to expire in June. I just renewed mine. I actually just passed. I didn't tell a lot of people this. I actually just passed the SysOps one. So I passed that probably 6 weeks ago. So I need to look. So yeah, I just passed the SysOps. That one I didn't have. So I have the 3 associate, the practitioner, and the security specialty. Shout out to my man Before the Billions. I'm thinking about taking the data engineering one. I don't know if I don't want to go back into programming though. So I'm toying with that one. I have not, Mildred. I am close. Shout out to Dr. Ozier. We got together. He added some standards I wasn't aware of. So we trying to get me, he's going to run it through AI because there was some abbreviations I didn't have in there that he wanted. So I have not released it yet. Shout out to my man, Scott. I'm sorry. Whitlock's going through it and kind of testing it for me. And I'm finishing up the major project is a FISMA assessment. So just making sure one of the benefits of my classes, I got a lot of templates I got from FedRAMP.gov, NIST.gov, CIS, SANS. So I have a bunch of templates. Templates like, do you have a standard SSP? Do you have policies and procedures for each NIST security family? So those are some of the things. But I appreciate Mildred. I'm still working on it. Once again, I'm close. I've been away for it. I have not. Once again, Dr. Ozier added a few standards I wasn't aware of. So he apologized and he helping me get out of there. Yeah, man, I'm hurting. Like I said, I dropped some pop, do a little work. I applied for a job at AWS. If we got searched for free. Nope, 20% off. That's crazy. The pain. I did that Loop interview. I did a 6-hour interview and it was brutal. Did you do the Loop? Well, I actually got an interview with AWS, and I went to a 6-hour Loop, and we looked it up. I interviewed for security level 6. I think the pay was like $320,000. I think my restricted stock options every year would have been $80,000. You get like a cash bonus of like $60,000. That was crazy, but yeah, I did a 6-hour interview. They hurt my feelings, the pay, but I didn't get it. But shout out to B-Dubs, I forgot that. The STAR technique. I was working on my STAR technique. So I got a lot better on my interview, the pain. The STAR, whew, for old guy, I was struggling with it. But now, shout out to AWS. I'm kind of glad I didn't get it because like 6 months later, they laid off like 20% of the people. But but that money was crazy. I'm going to see if I can look up what that was. It was AWS salary. Was engineering. It was engineering, and I thought I was going for compliance. They switched it up. L6. Was it the L6? Yeah. L6. So yeah, no, that was cool. So what was that? We were looking them up. Where a lot of time? Oh no, it was a security L6. Where's the security? Security software DevOps. I'm trying to look up that salary. It was something crazy. I think it was security. Was a security engineer? That's a quality engineer. So I'm trying to look it up real quick. But yeah, now that Amazon interview ain't no joke, man. That almost hurt my feelings. That's one. Yeah, there it is, L6. I'll share it. Anybody want to come up? Hey, you got to start somewhere, man. I got a little time. Hey, don't shortcut, because if you get in the door, you killing the game, man. You just got to get in the door to do some more stuff. So this is the one, because me and Chris Whitlock was looking it up. Shout out to Chris Whitlock, doing good things. Let's see. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So I was going for the L6. Total's 411. Base was 200. Mine was a little less than that, but that's what I was going for. Oh, what happened was I interviewed. the manager liked me, but he said I didn't have enough engineering background because I went for compliance. So he asked me would I sell it for L5. I was like, oh yeah, for $293, I think I could squeeze in the L5. So then I got on a whole loop interview. It was brutal. So the L5, your base is 176. You get stock options yearly of 92. And you get a bonus of 24.5. I was like, oh my God. I just need to work there for like 2 years and I'll be good. But yeah, Amazon, you know, I think their salaries going down a little bit because they laying off people, but I've never personally made any numbers like that in my life. But of course, you know, those are Cali, Silicon, Texas type, big fang type money. Once again, I'll be 58 this year. I might take one more shot at it. Once, probably 2026, you know, once things settle down, I might try to go to Amazon one more time. What really, I guess, made me upset was I was going for compliance and somehow everybody got put in engineering. I'm like, I know I'm not ready to be an engineer at Amazon. Now, if we did compliance like we go over these videos, I think PBO could have got that. I could have got that. I think I got enough background where I know enough to move in AWS and talk compliance, but I'm not building a FedRAMP infrastructure like I'm an architect. Why would I take the associate architect? Because as a compliance engineer, or I could be able to look over somebody's architect and say if it's NIST compliant, FedRAMP compliance, or CM&C, because I know each service in there, but I don't think I could architect it from scratch. Not back then. I think maybe by the end of this year I could, but once again, that salary from an L6 was crazy. Look at that, 411 base. I'm sorry, 411 total, 2001 base, 101. That's every year. Then you get a bonus every year of 30K if you meet your bonus or what you're supposed to do for a company. But those numbers, I'm from the Midwest, Indiana. I ain't never made anything close to that. So hell, I ain't made anything close to L4. You know, that's L5, L4. Yeah, I made L4 money. So, but now once again, that FANG big tech money. I mean, like I said, I'm probably next year. I'll probably hopefully have my skills up there. You know, I'm comfortable where I'm at, but you know, if I got a shot to make 411,000 total comp, hey man, I need that a couple years and I could retire. Man. PBO lives in Indiana, man. I don't need to make that but a couple years and I'd be good. 411. And I might move to Thailand and shut it on down. Let's see if I'm ready for the rack this evening. Shout out. Yeah, those salaries for engineers, not compliance. But yeah, Kay, I think from when I looked at compliance, let's look and see what their compliance. I think they have compliance engineers. I think they're close to that. Let's see if we can see compliant engineers. Kay brings up a good point. But once again, those are security. Let's see where compliance is at. Let's see. Can I see if we can bring up? You don't think compliance is like that, Kay? Come on, Kay. You don't think we doing it that big? Let's see. No. Let's see if we can do salaries AWS. Okay, you don't think compliance is making like that? I'm trying to figure out. I think it'd be in the quality. Maybe in the product. Let's see if I can find. Kay brings up an excellent point. Let's see if we can do compliance. I'm gonna have to look that up, Kay. You got me thinking now, Kay. I don't know. I need to look that up, Kay. You don't think compliance is making that up like engine? No, I think you're right. I don't think it'd be high, but I think compliance would be up there, especially from FedRAMP and security compliance. I think it would be up there, but I'm about to bring that on another stream now. Figure that out. Let's see. FY. Let's see. I gotta figure out what compliance is under, K. You got me thinking now. I gotta think about it. Let me bring that up while I'm looking. Late K don't think compliance is getting up there. Let's see. See, that's software engineering. Though that's software. That's security though. Huh? Could I do security? Yeah, Kay brings up a good point. I'm gonna need to dig in that more. Even though I think I would be more in the security engineering, but I would got to see if compliance would fall under that. Drop any other questions. We're gonna shut it on down. But Kay brought up a good point. But I was interviewing for that security engineer. I was trying to get that, but like I said, that 6 hours, 6, yeah, because I had an extra one. It was crazy. Like every 50 minutes, you would go on a different interview with 2 more people. So you got your team. There's like 3 people on your team. Then you had an advocate. Of course, PBO got in an argument with the advocate. David Chappelle, where keeping it real goes wrong. That's I put it in the chat. That's the FYI. Shout out to Women in Linux. She hooked me up to that site. Let's see. I dropped it in the chat, but yeah, those salaries. Like I said, they have compliance engineers at those. But like Kate said, I need to figure out what those. But when I was interviewing for it, I was interviewing like I think it was 360 or something crazy like that. I dropped it in the chat for you, Ty. Once again, if anybody wants to come up, just let me know. We're gonna wrap it on up. I got to get some energy. It's a long day for me. Once again, well, let me go back to it. We'll switch back, go back over. We went over the Amazon Inspector, which is vulnerability management for AWS. We went on and logged on to the dashboard, looked at some of these CVEs from low, moderate, and high. Then we went through Security Hub for one pane of glass. We looked at the compliance findings and the Amazon Inspector vulnerability management. So you can, once again, keep those going and be able to keep track of those from a continuous monitoring standpoint. Make sure you keep your environment findings free. Findings free. So that's what we're doing. Once again, I want to appreciate everybody for joining us. I hope everybody have a great hump day. PBO is having a rough day, but I want to again appreciate everybody for joining us. Once again, just ping me, professorblackops@gmail.com. I've been saying I don't think I check my email in a couple days. I've been tired. So I go check my email for that. I got to do a better job of that. Once again, finishing up my course. So go check out my stuff on my channel. I have a compliance playlist. I think I have about 60 hours compliance. NIST, CMC, IRS Pubs 1075, CPR 21, I think is FDA compliance. So I got a little bit of everything in my compliance playlist. Check that out. Then if you want to support me, I appreciate you, GMR. PBO is the best. Even when he's out, I appreciate it. BBL co-mingling stuff today. He got to get it together. But once again, I want to appreciate everybody for joining me. If not, just reach out to me. I'm in Simply Cyber's Discord, Study GRC Discord, Cyber Gangster Discord. So usually if you at Professor Black Ops, I'll come. That's like the back signal. Once again, I appreciate everybody for joining me. If you haven't, please subscribe and check me out during the week. I'm usually on these YouTube streets. Everybody have a great day and a happy hump.